morning students. Today we have moved to chapter 2, that is structure of atom. What is our chapter 2? Structure of atom. What is an atom? We have seen a small little points about atom in the first chapter, that is basic concepts of chemistry. See, matter is composed of indivisible particles called atoms. When atoms reorganize, then chemical reactions is possible. Okay, this is what we have seen. So what are atoms? Atoms are very small units which are not divisible. They are a part of element or they are a part of a molecule. So atoms are composed of three, that is protons, electrons and neutrons. So when I take an atom and look into its composition, an atom is made up of protons, electrons and neutrons. Okay. See, protons are positively charged particles. They are present in the nucleus of an atom. Okay, they are present in the central part. They are present in the nucleus of an atom. And what about electrons? Electrons are negatively charged. They will not be present inside the nucleus, but they will be present outside the nucleus. So electrons are negatively charged, which are present outside the nucleus. What about neutrons? As the name indicates, neutrons are negatively charged particles. They are also present inside the nucleus. So we have seen the composition. I have taken an atom. In the central part of the atom we have nucleus. In the nucleus I have protons and neutrons. What about the electrons? Electrons will be revolving around the nucleus. They will be revolving around the nucleus. When I say the weight, when I say the mass of atom, the entire mass of atom is concentrated to its central part. Which is the central part? The central part is nucleus. So the entire mass of the atom is concentrated to the nucleus. So when I weigh an atom, the entire weight of an atom is present in the nucleus part. So the size of the nucleus is found to be 10 power minus 15 meter, while the atomic radius is in the order of 10 power minus 10 meter. So we have seen the subatomic particles. We have seen what is an atom, what is the composition of an atom. We have seen protons, electrons and neutrons we have seen. Moving to the next topic, atomic models. Okay, there are two proposed models for to propose the model of an atom. Like to see the structure of an atom, there are two proposed models. What are those models? They are called as, first model is Thomson model and the second model is Rutherford's nuclear model. What is the first model? Thomson's model. This was proposed by the scientist J.J. Thomson. About this model we have studied from, I think from 9th standard onwards we have been studying. Whenever we know atom, immediately what will come to our memory? Thomson's nuclear model. So what did he propose? He said that an atom is composed of a positively charged sphere and electrons will be embedded in it. For that he told that a plum cake model or plum pudding model, where the entire atom is made up of positively charged sphere, which is nothing but protons, and all the raisins which are embedded or whatever the nuts which are embedded, they are called as your electrons, which are nothing but negatively charged. You can also imagine Thomson's model as a watermelon, where the pink color model, the pink color thing, no, the one which is edible part, that is nothing but your positive sphere, and the black color seeds which are embedded is nothing but electrons, which are nothing but electrons are embedded in the positively charged sphere. But what about this model? This model is a failure model because it didn't tell like how your positively charged sphere is able to hold the negatively charged electrons. Also it didn't explain about the stability of an atom. So we came to the second model. What is the second model called? Second model is called as Rutherford's nuclear model. So this was proposed by the scientist Rutherford. What does this model say? See, this model suggested that when you are going to bombard a high energy alpha particles to a thin gold foil, what I am going to do? I am going to bombard, I am going to beat up. Bombarding is nothing but beating up. So I am going to bombard the high energy alpha particles to a thin gold foil. So what happens when I bombard them? I will be deriving into three conclusions. Okay. So what are the three conclusions, children? See, most of the alpha particles were undeflected. Most of the alpha particles pass through the gold foil undeflected. So this is the first point. And what is the second point? A small fraction of the alpha particles were deflected. A small fraction of the alpha particles were deflected by small angles. What was his third observation? very few alpha particles, that is in the order of 1 in 2000 particle, they were deflected by the angle 180 degrees. Okay, I am repeating your Rutherford's nuclear model. He bombarded high energy alpha particles from a radioactive source to a thin gold foil. See, my thin gold foil has fluorescent and zinc sulfide screen around it. So what happens when every alpha particle strikes on it, I'll be getting a flash, I'll be getting a fluorescence. So after bombarding my alpha particles in the gold foil, he observed three things. What are the three things? First thing, most of the alpha particles pass through the gold foil undeflected. Without getting deflected, they just pass through the foil. His second observation was a small fraction were deflected by small angles. Okay, and very few particles, that is 1 in 2000 particles, they were deflected at the angle 180 degrees or they are bounced back. So from his three observations, he derived into three conclusions. The scientist Rutherford, from his three observations, he derived in three conclusions. What are the three conclusions? What is the first observation? Most of the alpha particles went undeflected. They just passed through the gold foil. So what he inferred that since most of the particles passed through the foil without being deflected, most of the space of alpha particles should be empty. I mean, most of the space of atom should be empty because most particles passed undeflected. So most of the space of atom is empty. This was the first inference. Then what was the second observation? Only small fraction were deflected by small angles. This shows that positively charged particles are present in the atom in a very small volume. They should be present in a very limited mass, and that part is said to be your nucleus. Okay, this is the second inference. Your third inference is very few particles, that is 1 in 2000 particles alone were bounced back at an angle 180 degrees, which shows that the entire mass of the atom should be concentrated in the central part. When I take a mass of the atom lies in the center. So these are the three observations and three inferences which he arrived from Rutherford's model. And you know, he summed up, like whatever his observation and inference, he summed up as a postulate. He said atom is made up of, atom is nothing but your tiny positively charged center. Atom is a tiny positively charged center. It has got a nucleus. In nucleus what are present? In nucleus protons are present and neutrons are present. So a nucleus constituting or comprising your protons and neutrons is collectively called as nucleons. So what are nucleons, children? A nucleus which is containing my proton and a neutron is collectively called as nucleons. And nucleons are heavier than your electrons. So I am going to say that mass of the nucleus is lying in the, the mass of the atom lies in the nucleus of the atom. So the mass of nucleons is called as mass number, and mass number is indicated by the term A. So what is mass number, children? Mass number is nothing but your nucleons mass. The mass of the nucleons is said to be your mass number because what are nucleons? Nucleons are nothing but a nucleus consisting of protons and neutrons. So I am going to collectively call them as nucleons. So what is mass of nucleons called as? Mass of nucleons is otherwise called as mass number, and mass number is indicated by the alphabet A, capital A. Okay. So what was the final conclusion he derived Rutherford? So atom is nothing but a tiny positively charged center, and mass of the nucleons is nothing but your mass number represented by the term A. Okay. Now moving to the third thing, what about electrons? We have left electrons like that. He has left electrons like that. So what are electrons, children? Electrons are not present in the nucleus, but they are revolving around the nucleus. See, they can revolve like that. They can revolve. No, they need a fixed path. They need a defined path to revolve. So that is called as orbit. So I told you, in the nucleus protons and neutrons are present, and electrons are moving around the nucleus in a circular path called orbits. How planets will be revolving around the sun, in the same way your electrons will be revolving around the nucleus in a fixed circular path called as orbits. Okay. Now we know the charge of electrons, right? The charge of electrons is nothing but negatively charged. So the number of electrons should always be equal to number of protons. Otherwise, the negative charge should always be equal to the positive charge. So I am going to say my atom is electrically neutral. It is not going to have more positive charge nor more negative charge. The number of positive and the negative charge should be balanced. So atom as such is electrically neutral. Now what to call the number of protons, children? The number of protons is equal to atomic number, and atomic number is always indicated by the alphabet capital Z. Okay, so what is atomic number? Atomic number is nothing but number of protons. Number of protons is otherwise is nothing but number of electrons, because always the number of positive charge is equal to number of negative charge. So what is atomic number? Atomic number is equal to number of protons. Okay, number of protons in turn is equal to number of electrons. Okay, done. And how your electrons and protons are held together. This point was not explained by the Thomson. That's what we say that as a failure model. But Rutherford explained that, like how your positive charge and negative charge are held together. The positive and the negative charges, that is your protons and electrons, are held together by means of electrostatic force of attraction. They are held together by means of electrostatic force of attraction. So we have seen the introduction part. We have seen what is an atom. They are indivisible particles. Matter is composed of atoms. When atoms reorganized, chemical reactions are possible. So atom is composed of protons, electrons and neutrons. Proton, P for P, that is proton, positive charge. Neutron, N for N, that is neutrons, neutral charge. Okay, neutrons, neutral charge, N for N. And electrons are negatively charged. And your protons and neutrons are present in the nucleus. Electrons are revolving around it. And two atomic models we have seen. Thomson's atomic model, which shows that your atom is composed of positively charged sphere where your electrons are revolving around it. Electrons, it is nothing but a positively charged sphere where electrons will be embedded, like how your in watermelon seeds are embedded in the positively sphere. In the pink sphere is nothing but your positively charged sphere, and your seeds are nothing but electrons embedded. So moving to the second model, Rutherford model. What was the drawback of your Thomson model? It didn't explain the stability of the atom. So we moved to Rutherford model. What was Rutherford model? He bombarded alpha particles from high energy source to a thin gold foil. So 3 observation: most passed undeflected, few deflected, very few deflected at an angle 180 degree. So this shows that most of the space of atom is empty and the mass is concentrated towards the center. So nucleons is nothing but your mass number. Number of protons is nothing but your atomic number. So next we will be seeing the drawbacks of Rutherford model. What is the drawback of Rutherford model? That we are going to see.